Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating source text called The Nervous System of Success. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you finally get exactly what you've been working so incredibly hard for, but instead of feeling thrilled, you just feel empty? Or worse, you feel a deep sense of dread. It's this incredible anomaly of human psychology, and in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why your body might actually be rejecting growth, and, most importantly, how you can train it for safety.
So, have you ever noticed something kind of strange in your own life? Like you finally get the opportunity you've been waiting for? It could be a massive promotion at work, an amazing new relationship, or the chance to finally start that business you've always dreamed about. Logically, you're thinking, this is it, this is my moment. But instead of feeling excited and jumping out of bed ready to conquer the world, you just freeze.
And the symptoms of this freeze response? They're super common. You suddenly start to procrastinate, or you become inexplicably exhausted right when you need your energy the absolute most. You might find yourself making up wild excuses, or you start overthinking every single little detail until you're completely paralyzed. It's almost as if some invisible force is actively pulling you backwards, away from the very success you asked for.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. When this sabotage happens, our first instinct is usually to beat ourselves up, right? But it probably isn't laziness. It isn't a lack of discipline, and it isn't a lack of willpower. The source material reveals this surprising truth. Your nervous system might actually be rejecting success. Not because success is genuinely dangerous, but simply because it's unfamiliar. At a purely biological level, your brain would rather keep you safe than make you successful.
Section 1. The Hidden Success Saboteur. Why your brain prioritizes familiarity over happiness.
Let's dive into exactly why this biological sabotage happens and look at how you can stop your own body from undermining the future you actually want. It all starts with understanding what your brain is truly prioritizing behind the scenes. See, most people operate under the belief that their brain's primary goal is happiness. In reality, it absolutely isn't. Your brain wants familiarity. We have to remember that for thousands of years of human evolution, familiar environments meant survival. So if you grew up around constant stress, stress became normal to your nervous system. If you were always criticized, criticism became your familiar baseline. If life always felt like a struggle, your body learned a stark equation: struggle equals safety. And here's the kicker: even after your external circumstances improve, your body instinctively keeps searching for the emotional environment it already knows.
Think about it like living right beside busy train tracks for 20 years. At first, every single train that rushes by shakes the house and keeps you awake. But eventually, your nervous system adapts. You barely even hear them anymore. Now, imagine moving somewhere completely quiet. Most people think the silence would be incredibly peaceful, but instead, you toss and turn. You literally can't sleep. Why? Because your nervous system became deeply attached to the noise. Emotionally, the exact same thing happens. Stress becomes the train, and sudden peace? Well, peace just feels highly suspicious to a hypervigilant nervous system.
Section 2. Identity and the body. The physical memory of who you used to be.
This brings us to a really core concept. Success doesn't just change your environment, it actually threatens the deeply ingrained labels you've attached to yourself over a lifetime. Success changes who you believe you are. Maybe you've always identified as the struggling entrepreneur, or the quiet person, or the one who never gets noticed. Over time, those labels totally fuse into your identity. Then, one day, success arrives. Your routines, relationships, and responsibilities all change. To your conscious mind, this is thrilling. But to your nervous system, it feels like a very real loss of self. Psychologists call this identity incongruence. When your self-image says, "I'm not the kind of person who succeeds," every achievement creates massive internal conflict. It's like building a beautiful second floor on top of a cracked foundation. Eventually, something has to collapse. And usually, it's your own behavior.
And that happens because the nervous system stores emotional patterns, not detailed memories. Have you ever felt anxious without knowing why? Someone asks what's wrong, and honestly, you have zero idea. Imagine a child who was constantly punished for standing out. They got good grades and people mocked them. They won competitions and others became jealous. They showed confidence and someone quickly called them arrogant. Over time, their nervous system learned one highly dangerous lesson: being visible leads to pain. Fast forward years later, and they're offered a massive leadership position. Logically, it's everything they ever wanted. But physically, their heart races, their stomach tightens, and they just want to disappear. The opportunity isn't actually dangerous. Their body just fiercely believes it is.
Section 3. The Success Smoke Detector.
mistaking opportunity for danger. So why do people rarely quit at the beginning of a journey, but often self-sabotage right at the finish line? They'll pull away 1 week before launching a business, a month before graduation, or one conversation away from a real commitment. Why? Because success fundamentally increases uncertainty. Your nervous system immediately starts firing off these protective questions. What if people expect more from me now? What if I fail after succeeding? What if everyone realizes I'm actually not good enough? These are not logical, rational thoughts. They are deeply protective biological reactions.
The crucial point here is this. Think about how a smoke detector operates in your house. A smoke detector doesn't wait to go off until it absolutely knows for a fact that there is a raging fire. It reacts to anything that even slightly resembles smoke. You burn some toast in the kitchen? Alarm. You take a really hot, steamy shower? Alarm. You're just trying to cook a normal dinner? Alarm. Your nervous system works in exactly the same way. In its desperate attempt to keep you safe from the fires of your past, it frequently mistakes a beautiful new opportunity for grave danger.
Section 4. Comfort Zones and Crashes. The Pain of Familiarity and the Emptiness of Achievement.
This leads us to reevaluate a term we use all the time, the comfort zone. Calling it a comfort zone is incredibly misleading, because honestly, many comfort zones are actually completely miserable. People stay in unhealthy jobs, unhealthy relationships, and toxic routines not because they genuinely enjoy them, but simply because they're familiar. The nervous system often makes a tragic choice. It will choose familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. It's so vital, I'm going to say it again. Familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. That is exactly why someone can complain bitterly about their life situation for years, yet actively reject every single genuine opportunity to change it. The change itself isn't what's frightening. It's the vast, unpredictable unknown that terrifies the nervous system.
And what happens when you do manage to push through and achieve that goal? You often get hit with what the text calls the success hangover. Have you ever noticed that after achieving something truly big, you suddenly crash? You finish a massive project, reach a huge financial milestone, or complete a marathon you trained years for, and instead of pure bliss, you feel empty, unmotivated, maybe even mildly depressed.
A lot of people incorrectly assume this means the achievement wasn't worth it, but really, your nervous system is simply recalibrating. For months, maybe years, you lived in high-octane pursuit mode. Now the chase is finally over, and your body literally doesn't know what to do with the stillness. Imagine a spinning top. Even after you stop pushing it, it keeps spinning rapidly on its own for a while, right? Eventually, it slows down and wobbles, but that entire transition process feels highly uncomfortable.
Section 5. Training for Safety. Teaching your nervous system that success is normal.
So how do we fix this? How do you actually stop your own nervous system from resisting your success? The answer isn't just endless motivation, and it certainly isn't just positive thinking. It's deliberate biological training. You train your body through repetition. Instead of chasing one terrifyingly huge transformation, your job is to normalize small successes. Keep tiny promises to yourself. Celebrate finishing what you started. Practice resting without feeling guilty. Simply accept compliments with a thank you instead of instantly rejecting them. Charge what your work is actually worth. Speak up once, then do it again and again. With every small positive experience, you're sending your nervous system one incredibly powerful message: we survived. Eventually, through this repetition, success no longer feels dangerous. It just feels normal.
Section 6. Stop fighting yourself. Curiosity over criticism.
As you do this training, you have to fundamentally shift how you treat yourself. Most people think they're fighting a war against their own procrastination or laziness. In reality, you are fighting against your body's deep sense of protection. Your nervous system is not trying to ruin your life. It's desperately trying to protect the fragile version of you it believes still exists. That is exactly why self-criticism almost never works. Imagine yelling at a deeply frightened dog huddled in a corner. Does yelling at it make it calm down and trust you? No way. It makes it even more defensive, more scared, and more likely to bite. When you aggressively criticize yourself for self-sabotage, your nervous system responds in the exact same defensive way. The shift you need to make here is profound. Criticism creates immense internal resistance, but curiosity creates profound change. Instead of aggressively demanding of yourself, why am I so lazy? You need to pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what is my body trying to protect me from right now? That single, compassionate question changes absolutely everything about how you approach your own growth. Here is a truth that most people will never hear, but it changes everything. You do not rise to the level of your goals, You rise to the level of what your nervous system believes is safe. That's why some people repeatedly lose amazing opportunities, shrink after success, or sabotage healthy relationships the second they begin to thrive. It's not a lack of worthiness, it's a lack of trained safety. But the beautiful news is right here. Safety can be trained. Your identity can absolutely evolve. Your nervous system can learn a completely new definition of normal.
So the next time you catch yourself inexplicably pulling away from an incredible opportunity, don't immediately jump to calling yourself lazy or unmotivated. Look inward and ask yourself, is this true fear, or is this just familiarity pretending to keep me safe? Because the amazing life you've been chasing may not actually require you to become someone entirely else. It might just require teaching your nervous system that your future doesn't have to feel like your past.
I want to leave you with this powerful takeaway directly from our source text. Sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't the world outside you, it's convincing the world inside you that you're finally safe enough to grow. So what small step are you going to take today to prove to your nervous system that it is finally safe to succeed? If this explainer helped you see your own behaviors a little differently, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who really needs to hear it. Keep training your safety and keep growing.